So, hello and welcome to the Inside PRTG quarterly webinar. This time we have the topic Shaping the Future of PRTG. And as you will see, it will be a great show once again. You will surely be satisfied with what we have in store for you. If I say Shaping the Future of PRTG, it's about the next level of monitoring, network monitoring, obviously. If you have been with us the last times, you know the drill. Like you can ask questions throughout the webinar in the chat. Our colleagues in the background will attend to them, but some of them will also be answered in a live Q&A session at the end of the session. When we can't tackle all the questions in the webinar during the time of the webinar, we will follow up via email. Speaking of following up via email, you will also get the recording of the webinar via the email follow-up afterwards. So if you ever attend but cannot be with us live, then you will get the recording afterwards. So feel free to register as you please. And the participants are in mute mode. Like this goes without saying, would be a little bit busy if not. But yeah, those are the basic rules. If you're wondering who I am, I'm your host for today. I'm Dominic. I'm Product Marketing Manager for Paessler for a couple of years now. Been with the company for a decade. So I'm pleased to have you with us. But obviously, I'm not the star of the show. The star of the show are our speakers today. We have Jonah, our SVP Product Management and Design. We have David, our Product Manager, and Maximilian Greiner, who's VP of Product Management. And as you can see, this will be the agenda from today. We'll get to some updates since July of this year, what happened so far. Then we have an exciting new feature, which is basically also the idea of this webinar. Like we want to hear your voice, and Jonah will tell you some more about this later. And then David will tell you about an exciting new way to visualize multi-servers with PRTG. And then, as I said previously, we will have a Q&A session at the end. So enough from me. We'll hand over to our first speaker. Jonah, take it away.
Yeah, thanks, Dominic. Appreciate the intro. We were chatting a bit about gaming before. Ghost of Yotai is the one that I'm spending my time on, so feel free to chime in. I already see the questions flowing in, so that's good to hear. I wanted to spend a few minutes looking back on what is available to all of you that are keeping your PRTG up to date. So some of the highlights from our last two releases. I will pick and choose from a couple of key things here. So Dominic, if you could take me to the next slide. Thank you. So just a few things that are of interest that I wanted to call out. You'll notice that there are new sensors available to you. Specifically here, you'll notice that there's new capabilities for monitoring Linux machines and some enhanced capabilities there. The version 2 sensors, which you'll find are a lot more performant and modern, definitely check those out. You'll see that we're replacing a lot of our older sensors with new versions here. Besides the deeper Linux monitoring, we've also added some additional new capabilities to capture deeper information from various types of devices and new sensors for NATs. We're hard at work on some other new sensors that you'll hear about soon. So those are going to be exciting for our next webinar. The other things of note here are the enhancements on the probe side. We have a very large set of release notes around the multi-platform probe. This is our new architecture that's far more scalable than the older probe. and it has its own release cadences today because we release it separately from PRTG. And you'll find that over time, this becomes the direction that we're going in terms of our probes. It already can support far more sensors and has some great capabilities. Thanks for that. Cool. You can go to the next slide, Dominic. So aside from the changes in the sensors and the probes, definitely check out the new UI. The team has been doing a lot of work on this. If you do not see the little button on your login screen that's next to it that says new user interface, you can activate it in the settings box, which looks like the screenshot on the right. This turns on the application server, which enables the API that the new UI is using. In the new UI, there's a new onboarding wizard. There's a lot of new capabilities for sorting and configuring sensors in a much more effective way. And of course, this is the direction the company is moving, is to use this new user interface. It solves a lot of issues around managing sensors, finding sensors, and configuration. So it's a lot easier to work with and has some great capabilities that have been missing from the classic UI. So please check that out because it's a big area of focus for us to get this in front of folks and eventually move over to this as the default interface for the product. You can go to the next. Thank you. So I can already see the feature requests flowing in, lots of suggestions and questions in the Q&A that we're going to be answering, but we have a new capability you may or may not have heard about, which we call Paessler User Voice. This is a place where you can go, and we'll put the link in the chat, a place where you can go to make feature requests, to vote for feature requests that others are requesting. And it really helps us prioritize the things that are most important to you all, because we build this product for you. When you go to the website, which is going in the chat right now, thank you, Max. Oh, you sent it to panelists. I will send it to everyone. If you go to the URL there, you can easily register and be able to vote for and see everything. So it's a great way to interact with with the product management team and vote for the things that are most important to you. You'll also find on the home page here, there's a link to the roadmap, which we'll talk about in a moment. But this makes it much easier for our team to prioritize the things that are most important to you. You can vote, you can comment, you can give feedback. When you do vote for something, and the URL's in the bottom left there, uservoice.paessler.com. When you do vote for something, it will notify you as we go into development. Then we typically will do a preview release or a beta. So this allows you to stay informed as we come out with new things that you're asking for. So it's definitely a great way to keep on top of the things that are important to you and close the loop. On the right-hand side, the roadmap, we've separated it into a few different themes, and the roadmap is linked directly from the page to the left, and this will give you a place to see what we've recently released, what's coming, and so that's a good way to keep on top of what is going on with the product from the engineering team as well. So yeah, you can go to the next slide, Dominic. And with that, we're going to take a look at some of the key features that are coming out. So I'm going to hand this over to, actually, I'm going to, sorry, keep going, one more slide. So we're going to talk a little bit about the key things, what's new with our Enterprise Monitor product, what is going on with multi-server visualization and reporting, and some great new capabilities to help you scale your PRTG installations. And with that, I will hand it over to
David.
David on that. Sorry about that. It's a little early in the US. You'll have to forgive me. Coffee is still coming in. So thanks, David.
Like,
appreciate it.
We have to emphasize it's 4 a.m. for Jonah. So
yes,
extra round of applause for him. So thanks, Jonah.
Right.
And take it away, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Jonah. Thanks, Dominic. I did wake up with a cold this morning. I hope my voice keeps up, so bear with me if I take a sip of water. But I am excited, and it will hold up, I think. I'll tell you about the next topic. So there's some news for PRTG Enterprise Monitor specifically. Basically, we're updating the bundle. As a reminder, Enterprise Monitor is our package where you just pay by the number of sensors, and then you can use these across an unlimited number of PRTG servers. And in addition, it includes many of the extensions free of charge that normally you would have to purchase extra. So as a reminder, PRTG Multiboard, it's an application for managing multiple PRTG servers from a single place. So it's a great asset for you if you're responsible for keeping PRTG servers working and monitoring as they should. If SLAs is something that you need to report on to your stakeholders, SLA Reporter has some great features there to automatically generate reports and send them out by email to the stakeholders. And the brand new extension that we have now in the bundle is Multicore dashboards, which makes it easy for you to see your PRTG data in the open source dashboarding tool Grafana. So it's tailored towards combining data from multiple PRTG servers. That's why we put it in this bundle. And it closes a bit of a feature gap that we had up to now after we discontinued IT Ops Board a while ago. Next slide, please, Dominic. Yeah, so we already mentioned this, that it's upcoming in the last webinar. Now it's released and included also for all existing Enterprise Monitor customers. And basically what it does is it configures access to PRTG data in Grafana for you and creates out-of-the-box dashboards. Go into a bit more depth later. And basically these dashboards are tailored towards a high-level overview over your multiple PRTG installations. But before I talk about it, to give you a better idea of what it's about, I've brought a few screenshots. So here we have a card view. And of course, a big advantage compared to the maps in PRTG is we can combine data from multiple servers. And another key thing, we can only see it small here, but the filtering options on the top basically allow you to filter the views by groups, by tags, by devices, sensor types, status, and so on, and to really build custom views for your stakeholders that maybe need to see only certain aspects of your network infrastructure. And then it's really easy into Grafana to save a copy of the dashboard with the filters applied and then share that copy with whoever needs to have that kind of view. Next slide. Yeah, a bit of a different view. We made a few different ones depending for different use cases or just preferences. So here we have some high-level summaries at the top of what we're monitoring and what the status is overall. And below we have a list of sensors, the ones that have issues that are down or in warning are on top. And then you can see it's a blue link. If you click on it, it'll take you directly to that PRTG server to take a closer look at the sensor if it has an issue. The last out-of-the-box dashboard I brought for you, it's also possible to export metrics, so the channel data from PRTG sensors and show it in dashboards. What you can see here, for instance, is probe CPU usage and memory, so from multiple servers and probes combined in a single view. So also there we can go deeper into the metrics and the history of what happened on the channels, not just the status data that you saw in the other ones. Yeah, I can only give you a glimpse in the scope of this webinar, but feel free to go to our website. It's all live now. Just look for Multicore dashboards for the extension. There's a video there. You can download a trial to get started right away to really have a hands-on experience and see if this is a good fit for you. Yeah, my last point that I want to share with you, just to give you a bit more insight and understanding of how it works on a technical architectural level. Multicore Dashboards is powered by our existing extension, PRTG Data Exporter, which is an extension. It connects to multiple PRTG servers, exports the data to a central database. That's what the database you see in the middle here. And here on the right, we have Grafana, which is an open source dashboarding tool. It's not distributed by us, so you'll have to install it separately, but it can be installed and used free of charge. It's open source. And what Data Exporter does, the new functionality, is it makes it really easy to get Grafana set up. So via API, it'll connect a data source to the database where the PRTG data is stored. And it creates some out-of-the-box dashboards via the API that are ready to use for you. Yeah, so I'll say it again, check out the website, download the free trial if this is something for you that you might get value from. If you already have the PRTG Enterprise Monitor license, you can get a license for the duration of your subscription. Just contact customer service. If you don't, you can still try out the trial and see maybe if an upgrade is something for you. Yeah, that's it from me. We'll have a chance for questions at the end if there are any, but now I'll hand over to Max to talk about the last topic, database.
Thank you, David. And we are already approaching the last topics section for today, but this is fine because this definitely will leave us room for some live interaction and question and answers in the end. So the third big topic we want to touch on today is PRTG Database. And this is a term that is new. PRTG Database is the official wording that refers to something we have been highlighted lately over a couple of times. And this refers to what we are trying to go really to the next level of PRTG when it comes to the way how we store data in PRTG. So this is a foundational new component inside PRTG's architecture. And this will definitely help us not just bringing the way of storing to a state-of-the-art technology level, but also helps with scalability topics, performance topics, and as a strategic outlook, the PRTG database will replace the classical PRTG core over time. And the key word here is really over time. My goal today for you is to give you some peace of mind. There is nothing to worry about. There will be no disruptions. I will guide you through in the next couple of minutes what to expect. But I also mention it right now. There will be more info coming soon. So when we go to the next slide, I'll give you also here technical glimpse what to be expected. This is PRTG set up as you know it today. So on the left side, you have this classical core server that I was just referring to, the local probe and the app server. And then across your network, behind some firewalls, you have your other probes. It might be a classic probe or a multi-platform probe or several. This is basically what you know today, and this is what we show in various collaterals. This is a classical PRTG architecture setup. What comes now in addition when we introduce PRTG database are these three pieces labeled as 1, 2, and 3. And this is a NUTS messaging system. We are introducing a new database server. And as a base layer, PostgreSQL database, building the foundation of state-of-the-art storage. And the note on the lower right corner is basically what I've just tried to explain. This is something that will be part of the installation additionally. So everything you know today will still be there. We don't take anything away suddenly. We are just slowly introducing these new components to ensure business continuity, to ensure there will be no disruption, and everything can be smoothly planned and scheduled according to your needs. And this is basically the high-level experience, and mind the term midterm experience. So this is nothing you need to do overnight. There is nothing you need to do on a super specific date. We designed it really to be low-key and low friction. So the stable version we are aiming for is 1.16. When you ask, okay, what does it mean in a time? Today we are on 1.10 and 1.12 is coming out literally tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. So this is to give you some sort of time frame. 1.14 is still coming this year, and 1.16 will then be the first one next year. And as I said, everything will be part of the standard installation process as you know it. Then these additional components will be on your system, and the configuration is set to as it is, classical way. So nothing happens without your action, nothing happens without you are aware of it. As soon as you are ready, as soon as you are familiar with the details, as soon as you have mapped out maybe an according schedule, you can start something we call migration, which is a data transfer of your config data and your raw data to the new storage system. Also here, no disruption. You can execute it as a background process. It is literally a copy-paste mechanism, so you don't risk any data loss. And then afterwards, you enter your daily business operational mode. And also here we offer several configuration modes. And if you feel right now, okay, Max, all fair and square, but I need way more information to really know what to expect, then I've done my job today, because this is the teaser for the Q4 webinar that is also still coming this year. So you might already want to sign up for and put it as a to-do on your list. This is where we will go much more into details on this topic. For now, I'd like to end with this cliffhanger and go back.
Thank you, Max. And then we're through with the slides for today. We have plenty of time for Q&A. This is where Jonah takes over once more.
Yeah, lots of questions and lots of answers already have been provided. But yeah, I just wanted to open the floor up to a couple of questions here that I think are worth discussing. So the first one, which we'll answer live, was from Stephen. He was asking about Microsoft Azure and Microsoft 365 services. First, Stephen, you're lucky you were not on AWS yesterday, so congratulations for picking the cloud that was online. We do have monitoring, and we do have specific sensors for a lot of components on Azure and on 365 as well. If there are missing sensors that you want to see us build, please open those on User Voice. We're always looking for new ideas for sensors and things that will help you. So with that, feel free to make a feature request if there's something missing. But there is a very long list of sensors available. So I think that one is answered. The next one is, we've gotten a couple of questions about the new exciting Grafana integration. David specifically using our data exporter and Grafana together. So the first one for you, David, is Multicore dashboards for free or cost for PPEM? That's enterprise licenses. Maybe you could explain the licensing a little bit to folks, David. Thanks.
Sure. Yeah. So yes, it is free for Enterprise Monitor licenses. So if you have one, you can get started. Even if you have a running license that you purchased a while ago, you can contact customer service and get one. And if you purchase a new one in the near future, you will automatically get the license and the download links, etc., included in the communication that you get from us.
Yep. And I also put a link into one of the questions of where you can find Data Exporter, which is the extension that integrates with Grafana. So you can either buy that separately if you do not have PPEM, or if you do have the enterprise product, then you get it as part of your license. So thanks for the questions on that one. One other question, which was raised here by Graham, was asking about, I believe it's for multi-board and SSO. I know this is something that the team is working on. So maybe someone can ask about Entra support for multi-board for SSO. So for those of you that aren't following the constant name changes in the industry, Entra is the Microsoft Azure Active Directory product, if you were using it before. David, do you have an answer on that one by chance? On SSO?
For multi-board, I don't know about the exact plans. I know that, as you said, the team is looking at it.
Yeah.
But I think we'll have to get back to you on that.
Yeah. I know that there is SSO support coming. We've released some of it, but I'm not sure about Entra support specifically. So we can get back to you on that, Graham, but let me track that one down, and we'll drop you an email. Okay. So another question for you, David, on Grafana. Is it possible to use Grafana for on-premises network monitor installations, and how does the API access work? I think you showed us a diagram of that, but maybe you want to answer this question.
Sure. So I'm not 100% sure if I get it correctly, but yes, it's all for on-premise, right? You have your PRTG servers on-premise, and then we suggest on a separate server you install Data Exporter, which will collect data from the PRTG servers, put it in the database, and you can put Grafana on the same server or a different one, depends on how you prefer it, which then needs to access that database. So of course you have to make sure that Data Exporter can access your PRTG servers, and then Grafana can access the database where the data is stored. We are looking into some agent-like solutions in case your PRTG servers are somehow in a segmented network that can't be reached from the outside. We're looking into that, so you can stay tuned. Definitely 2026, there'll be something like that coming along, because we do know that it's a requirement for some. But as of now, yeah, there needs to be access somehow from the Data Exporter to your PRTG servers.
All right, thanks for that one. Next question, I think, is for you, Max, on PRTG Database. Will PRTG Database increase the WMI sensor limit for probes? I can help answer this too, but why don't you take a crack?
Yeah, I would like to just be careful about the wording here. We currently have a sensor limit for probes, which you can look up in our system requirements. The limit per probe, so how many sensors we recommend per probe, will not change. What was highlighted in the call and also answered or in other questions, the number of sensors per core server will change. This is per se independent from the type of sensor. But if I get you correct, Mr. Sung, then the answer to your question is no. The limit for probes will not change.
So I just wanted to also add a little clarification on that. Right now, we are beta testing a new feature for probes related to WMI, and this is Kerberos support. So as many of you may know, Microsoft has moved away from the old NTLM authentication in the new versions of Windows to Kerberos only. And so we have been doing some changes on our probes to support this new authentication for WMI capture. In the Kerberos support, we are seeing higher performance than we were seeing with the older authentication. So for you, Mr. Sung, this means that you will likely see better performance and scalability on your current probes with WMI. We also are working on the new multi-platform probe support for Windows, and this will also increase performance once we release that version, which is in the plans for next year. So I think those are two things that can also help with your question on WMI performance and scalability. So stay tuned for both of those pieces. So the next question, I think, is a pretty general one. So I'll just propose this to the group. Will the new components support Linux? Or will there be appliances around Windows? I don't understand the second part, but maybe you can talk, we can, as a group, address the issue of Linux support because you see that we're going in that direction to try to support both in the future. I'm not sure who wants to take that one, but feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I will.
I can comment, maybe not full comprehensively, but yes, as you said, overall, of course, we're looking to move into a more cross-platform world where our components also run on Linux. The multi-platform probe is a very visible example of that, but also the modernization going on in the PRTG core is taking us in that direction, but it's a bigger effort. Talking about Multicore Dashboards Data Exporter, for instance, we release it right now as Windows only, but it's implemented in a tech stack where it's relatively easy to offer a Linux version in the future. So as of today, it's Windows. It's just, the customer demand is mostly for Windows, also from where we're coming from. So it makes sense for us with the limited resources to start there. But yeah, as demand grows, and we can expand to Linux in the future.
Yep.
And
yeah,
considering your strategy to come around Windows, as you put it, would be to put the load that you have on the multi-platform probe as a Linux-based system and combine it with either our hosted approach or run just one or how many core servers you need on-prem or in the cloud, so you will not have to operate so many Windows systems, buy licenses, and so on. So just distribute the load on the multi-platform probe as far as possible, and for that, have the optimal approach.
Then I throw in a third angle, and I hope we don't confuse the author of the question totally. But just coming back to the PRTG database thing, and I think this was also a question from somebody else. Very tactical, very at the first beginning, keep in mind that these new components we've presented will be installed to the same machine that you are currently running on PRTG. So this would be a Windows machine, obviously. This is where you are currently running on, and this is where we deploy these new components to at first. So that's basically, in a nutshell, we focus first on supporting everything on Windows, and then, as David and Christoph just said, we take it as a let's say, side effect that this will help us strategically on a long term make us more operational system independent, but step by step, at first, same machine, Windows as you know it.
Thank you to everyone that helped with that answer. So we'll take a couple of more questions here. One is that has come up a little bit is about the Android application. I didn't see requests about iOS, however, these also come up. So if you'll notice, we are working on a progressive web application. This is in User Voice, and the team is currently working on this. So this would be a version of the new UI that works natively on mobile applications. It allows you to do notifications, and it gives you a much more modern interface to PRTG that works across all mobile devices. So this is something that the team is working on today that we expect to be able to release early next year. And you'll find a User Voice idea for that particular progressive web application, and I will type that into the Q&A if I can. I know we don't have a chat, which makes it a little hard, but the progressive web application is definitely something that you can vote on, and you'll be notified when that goes into preview, and this will replace a lot of the challenges that we have with the current native mobile applications. So one question for you, Dominic, is will we get the PowerPoint or the meeting information after the session today?
Yeah. So as a standard, you will get every time you register for one of our meetings, you'll get the video recording afterwards. So expect within like 24 hours to receive the recording of the session. You won't get the PowerPoint slides, but you will get the whole show today.
Sounds good. Thank you. So last question, I guess, before we wrap it up here, which is, I guess, related to the PRTG database, or maybe this is just generally with updates. So when you do update the PRTG server itself to a new version using the auto update, the question is, do you need to reboot the Windows server? If anyone wants to take that, or I can, maybe Christoph, you want to answer this on update procedures?
Yeah, under normal circumstances, the PRTG update itself, if we're talking about the application, shouldn't have the necessity to reboot the Windows system as it is. I can't currently tell you if this is also true if we update it to the database, because we currently don't have a migration path, so we are working on that. But under normal circumstances, as you know it, your PRTG server should restart, including the web server component, but not the Windows system as it is. Thanks
for answering that. And last question, which came in because I like this one, Max, this is for you, is what are the prerequisites for installing the database, or how can people discover this?
In a super nutshell, you must be entitled to receive version 1.16. So this means, for example, if you are out of maintenance for some reason, then it's highest time to get in touch with us. If you have a running contract and everything is smooth, then you are basically just need to wait for this release, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, and the other piece is obviously there is slightly higher memory and CPU requirements involved in upgrading to PRTG database because we are running a new process. So there will be some added requirements on your virtual machine or your installation for running the database. And the questions keep coming in, but I'm sorry that we have to wrap up. We will reply to all of your questions over email directly after the webinar. So please give us a few days and we will make sure to get back to you. Thanks for all the great participation and all the great questions. And please keep the feature requests coming to us because it really helps us prioritize what's most important to you all. And with that, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks to the team for putting this together and participating. And we'll see you next quarter. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.